It's 7 a.m. and behind the scenes at Chester Zoo, a massive operation is already underway. Hungry animals are waiting for their breakfast, and it's a race against time for the animal supplies team to deliver all the food.
When you're Joe Public, when you walk in the zoo and you think, oh, it just happens automatically, but it is quite a frenzied workload in the mornings.
Les Nicholson, Graham Edwards and Mark Wiley are tasked with feeding 400 species, including some of the most unusual creatures on the planet. And that takes some serious organising.
I think it's around about 5,500 apples I think we go through in a week. Something like, I would say probably 2,000 bananas.
No vehicles are allowed inside the zoo once the gates are open to the public. So the clock is ticking for delivery driver Mark.
It's about 8:15 in the morning and I'm about to deliver the fruit and veg to all the animals. It's really good to drive around the zoos in the morning. The animals are a bit more lively because they've just woken up than later in the day when they can be sleeping. We've got melons, apples, papayas, bananas, grapefruits and bread for the apes.
The feeding challenge doesn't stop once the food has been delivered. At the Bird Incubation Centre, senior keeper Lara Jordan has to wear an unusual disguise when playing mum to a flock of Waldrapp ibis chicks. The process may look comical, but there's a serious reason for it. By imitating an adult bird, Lara can feed the chicks without upsetting their natural behaviour.
That's a begging response. So when we were hand rearing them, they would like that, and they reply to that and they beg. So that's what that was to encourage them to feed because they were a bit shy.
Back at Animal Supplies, Les has nearly finished preparing food for the primates.
This one is for the chimp section. There's 14 kilos of apples, 4.5 kilo of pears.
Chester Zoo's food budget for the year runs to over £200,000, with £70,000 on fruit and veg alone.
They eat quite a varied amount as well, you'd think. You wouldn't think the chimps would eat onions, but apparently they enjoy them.
It may be the busiest part of the day for Animal Supplies, but for the keepers, breakfast is a chance for quality time with the animals before the zoo opens.
I'm just going to put it on their shelves.
Head keeper of primates, Andy Lenehan, is feeding Sumatran orangutan, Emma, and her 3-year-old daughter, Utara, who were both born at Chester.
Sometimes the babies don't get too much. It's survival of the fittest in the orang world, so if we're around, we try and get the babies a bit of food, but they always get some. Let's see if they're thirsty now. We give them a very weakened solution of unsweetened juice.
Sometimes table manners are conspicuous by their absence.
Oops.
Back at Animal Supplies, Graham Edwards is preparing one of the more unsavoury items on today's menu.
We have approximately 400 to 500 locusts go out to the bird sections and the monkey sections every day. Okay, I'm going to put these in the top case now. It's when you put your hand in the cage for the first time and they're all sort of jumping around, they end up landing on your arm and you tend to turn into a big girly when they sort of jump on you. But you soon get used to them because you've got to get your job done. And it doesn't bother me now, I quite like them.
Locusts are a favourite for the baby Komodos. Senior keeper Matt Swatman knows that if they were left to go hungry, the reptiles could take a bite out of each other.
The adults will actually eat babies if they give them the opportunity to. They will be cannibalistic, and so we have to keep a really close eye on them. You're going to puff yourself up at me. There we go. Try and keep them away from each other, just because we don't want any fights breaking out. Although they're relatively young, they've grown a hell of a lot since we've had them. But their teeth are very, very sharp and they're very, very capable of doing a lot of damage to each other, which would almost certainly involve stitching, and obviously we don't want that.
While the babies tuck into their food, head keeper of reptiles, Isolde McGeorge, is giving one of the adult Komodos something slightly larger to tackle.
You know what's coming, don't you, Nessie? It's yum-yum time. Now, today we're using a turkey. It's a fresh turkey. It weighs 8 kilograms. We're going to secure the food that we're feeding. to this chain. We don't want the dragon to pick up the food and drag the food around the enclosure. We want the dragon to be able to use lots of different muscles that it wouldn't use normally. Muscles in the neck and shoulders. So they do a lot of pulling and tugging.
Komodo dragons are efficient killers, capable of attacking animals as large as water buffalo. Nessie will make short work of this meal.
If you watch how she's tearing away, she puts her front feet in and she pushes back, so she's using all these muscles here, and they have an effect around the neck and the shoulders. And she's got a wing. If she takes a wing off, she'll take that whole. She's got a wing. It's fascinating to watch, isn't it? It's always fascinating to watch any behaviour.
It's only minutes until the 10 a.m. deadline for completing his rounds, and delivery driver Mark is feeling the pressure.
It is difficult to get everything done that we need to between the 8 and 10 in the morning because there's so much we have to do. We've got hay and straw deliveries, loose air and all the fruit. We've got the skips to do, and on a daily basis we have to get all that done.
With one final push, Mark completes his rounds, but his day's work is nowhere near finished. Tomorrow at 7, the deliveries begin all over again, and the preparation starts now. But Mark has no complaints.
I like being outdoors most of the day with it. The physicality of it, there's a lot of heavy work involved in it, and just the variety of it. Working in a zoo, you get to see loads of different types of animals, stuff that you wouldn't usually get to see. Time to go back and start again, get things ready for tomorrow.
There's been a delivery of a very special kind at the monkey enclosure. Senior keeper Jason Boyer has spotted the zoo's newest arrival.
Mary, one of our female spider monkeys, has literally minutes ago just given birth. The baby's on her chest, its head just sticking out under its armpit. We had an idea of that she was pregnant. It's quite hard to tell with spider monkeys because they have a pot belly, but we do record when we've seen matings, but we don't really know until a little one pops out. We've now got 10 with the arrival of this new little one. We do get a good feeling because it makes us feel like we're doing our jobs correctly, that the monkeys are relaxed enough to breed comfortably and rear the youngsters. When monkeys are born, they have to travel wherever mum goes. So they are born with a tremendous grip. So the little one will sort of like hang on to mum's belly, basically just moving to a nipple to feed. Mary's an experienced mum. She's already had four or five youngsters before and looked after them brilliantly.
It's 10 a.m. and Chester Zoo is open for business. Most of the animals are enjoying their breakfast. At the Jaguar enclosure, senior keeper James Andrews has just taken delivery of some chickens to feed 2 of the zoo's 5 jaguars.
It's Wednesday, so it's chicken day. Wednesdays, Thursdays chicken, Fridays fish, and then the rest of the week is a mix of beef and rabbit, depending on what's available. So, first up, I'm going to throw this on there for that jaguar.
Yeah.
And he's going to pull his head off and crunch it up and eat him. Bones, innards, toenails, the lot. Do you want to watch?
Yeah.
OK then. We're going to pop this down here for Bonita, who's staring out at us, to come and grab hold of. She's got her favourite eating area over the back there. She'll go and eat over there. Now we're going to go Coro. Going to drop it short into the water there, because he will sometimes plunge into the water after his chicken, so let's see. Not much of a plunge. He got a bit of salad with it there. So it'll take them about 5–10 minutes to eat those, and then they'll come back hoping for some more. And they're in luck because there is more.
In the forests of Central and South America, the jaguars will eat armadillos, turtles and snakes. The menu here doesn't stretch that far, but from time to time the jaguars will supplement it themselves.
if an unfortunate bird lands in there and doesn't get away in time, every now and then you'll find a little pile of pigeon feathers or crow feathers and that sort of thing. You can't suppress their instincts in that way.
Mealtimes are a good opportunity to keep the animals challenged and stimulated. But right now, Coral seems to need a little help.
It's over there, mate.
He's not happy.
He's not happy. This is why you only tend to do that with the last one. If he doesn't find it, it's not the end of the world. In the wild, one day they'll catch a nice big fat brocket deer or something, and the next day they have to make do with, I don't know, a couple of fish.
At last, Coral's persistence pays off, and he gets his reward. Chester Zoo has 10 Asiatic elephants, ranging in age from 9 months to 51 years. Sheba is the oldest and the matriarch of the group. In elephant terms, she's an elderly lady, so headkeeper Mick Jones keeps a special eye on her.
Sheba, as an older elephant, she occasionally gets a few problems with her feet. She's had stone penetration into the foot and caused a little bit of problems for her.
The vets help Mick to monitor Sheba's health, and Steve Unwin has come to check up on her foot.
It's like a little tract that goes just underneath the nail, and at the moment she probably doesn't even realise it's there. She's not lame on it and she doesn't appear to be in any pain or anything like that. The idea of doing this foot care on a regular basis to prevent it becoming a problem.
Sheba, foot. Steady. All right, good girl.
OK, back foot.
What we're just doing is trimming out these fissures that might throw the nail off. So this is quite a deep fissure because the nail is quite long.
Because of course it's impossible for an elephant to go any faster than a walk, but they can walk at 25 miles an hour. So but basically what I mean by walk is 3 feet need to be on the ground at any one time to be able to support their body weight. So therefore, wherever their weight-bearing surfaces are on those feet, the weight distribution needs to be as even as possible. And that's sometimes where, as well as getting things caught in their feet, that if the weight distribution is off for any reason, if they've got a soreness somewhere or whatever, then that can also relate to problems in the feet. But you can see the actual cushion part of the foot is... It's certainly a lot softer than I was expecting the first time I'd seen elephant feet, but they are incredibly quiet animals when they're in motion, when they want to be.
We're not looking for a pretty foot, we're looking for a functional foot. And gone are the days when we put varnish on elephants' feet.
Must have been before my time, OK.
In my time,
Really?
they used to put a clear varnish on elephants' feet. To make them look shiny.
It's all useful experience for James Chatterton, who's a qualified vet, but a relative newcomer to exotic species.
It's really good to see the keepers doing their foot trimming that they do as part of their daily routine. It's something that I haven't done before, so I'm learning how to do that slowly. And it also lets me see the elephant's feet regularly, and then over the coming weeks and months I'll be able to see progress. The clinical side of what we do is one thing, but it's always nice to get that contact with the animals as well, you know. It makes the job a bit more interesting, it's a bit more hands-on.
Next comes a dental check. Elephants usually have 6 sets of teeth in a lifetime, but Sheba has only 2 teeth at present, so they are a cause for concern.
This one is in transition, and this one is all but gone, yeah?
When she opens her mouth, we can see the upper molar is relatively easy, and the molar on the right is almost worn away to nothing, and the molar on the left is sort of what's called in transition, it's just starting to come out. So it's an unevenness of teeth, and it just takes her longer to chew things. Her appetite looks okay, it's just the access and the time she needs to be able to eat it. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. She needs much more time. We're trying to get her 16 hours a day with food in front of her, as opposed to perhaps currently 10, because those other elephants will eat their food from in front of her. Yeah. So if we can get her eating more time, then we'll be on a winner.
Sheba's ideal weight, 3.84 tonnes. She's about 200, 300 kilos less than that at the moment. So over the next couple of months, the idea is to put that, get that weight back up.
That's right. If we can get it up to 3.8, we'll be really happy. Even better, 4 tons. And then whatever winter throws at her, she'll be able to take. If she goes to winter with this weight on, then it's a bit more of a challenge to her system.
Steve is happy that Sheba is doing OK for now, but he and Mick will continue to monitor her. At the Bird of Paradise enclosure, it's bath time. Senior keeper Darren Langford is providing the shower. A bird who won't be bathing is Jackson, the imprinted male who thinks he's human. He hates water.
And you can see Jackson up there now. He's actually going through the bathing motion, but he won't tolerate the spray on him. Going to give the house a bit of a water down. 1, to water the plants, and 2, to build up a humid atmosphere which replicates the area that the animals in here come from. The female's usually the first one to start bathing. There's the male arrived now, the big male, with the young male now bathing there in his position. Each bird is religious to its position that it goes to. There's not a great deal that we can do other than provide the necessities. This is one of the necessities to keep the male's plumage in tip-top condition, and the female as well. She wants to look her best so that she can get the males going. If she looks in good health, they'll display frantically for her attention. They really go for it. They fluff the feathers up and the water droplets fall to the skin. And then they actually wet the underside of the bird, because the birds are actually very well waterproofed. I suppose this is getting ready. It's the shower before the night on the town. Look for a young lady in your best plumage and your best outfit. Jar with all the other lads on who's going to catch that young girl's eye. Obviously, in this situation, the birds don't go for the young men, they go for the old men in the good attire, the one with the good suit on. What they do after they've finished hosing is they'll go up to the top perches and then preen themselves out, removing any damaged or feathers, loose feathers, and tidy themselves up, and then they'll start their display. We provide large rubber tree that the birds can remove the leaves off, which they've done excellently, and those branches then become the dancing perches for the males to dance on. It's a bit like a nightclub in a way, so you know where you're going to find your partner. So once they've copped off with a young lady, she goes off back out there into the world to become a single-parent family. And the males stay on the dance floor and hope for another young lady to come by. And that's the world and Birds of Paradise, not dissimilar to some of the world of young clubbers in the human world.
Keeper Laura Kelly and vet James have come to the sea lion pool for a checkup on a male called Fernandez. He's been suffering from an eye infection similar to conjunctivitis. It's being treated with antibiotic drops.
We normally have problems in the summer, so we don't know if it's because of the glare from the pool, perhaps, or because the pools get dirty quick because it's sunnier, so there's more algae, we're not sure.
Now the challenge is getting the patient to behave.
We're going to put some eye drops in Fernandez's eyes now. It's a special dye that the vet's going to use to see if the eyes have improved. But we're going to get him out and do some training with him, because we do the medical training every day anyway.
Fernandez is completely at ease with Laura, but doesn't know James very well. He allows Laura to put the green dye in his eyes. James keeps his distance at first, knowing Fernandez weighs 30 stone and has a formidable bite.
There is an element of danger with the sea lions because, you know, they've got big teeth, they're strong, but because ours are trained, we don't have any trouble with them, but we're always aware that there is that danger there, so if they look like they might be a bit unpredictable, then we stop.
Fernandez isn't too sure about James's bedside manner. but he needs to get used to the vet in case other treatments become necessary.
Good.
I'm still not able to get as close to Fernandez as I would like when I'm examining his eyes, but we've put some green dye in his eyes, which is called fluorescein, and that helps us see if there's any damage on the surface of his eyes. Now, there isn't any damage there at the moment, so that's good, and the infection itself is getting better, but it's not quite gone yet. So we're going to carry on with the medication for the next few days, and we'll come back in 3 or 4 days and make sure that it's all gone.
It's encouraging progress for James and Fernandez. Next time.
Some great news last night.
There's relief and delight at the Lion House.
All of the signs are good at the moment.
And hopes of successful breeding are raised when a new male Komodo dragon arrives from a Dutch zoo.
He's handsome and he's sweet, and I think he will be very nice with the ladies.